Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all fandoms, welcome to the Ferret and Raccoon podcast, episode 128. I am the Angry Raccoon.
And I am Recess.
Back for, I think, your third debut.
Boom.
Of this year.
Yeah.
I think the last time we had you on the podcast, Recess, we were talking about It Chapter 2.
We were talking about It, yes.
And I want to quickly mention how we were pretty much saying how it wasn't going to be a good film. And we were right.
Shock horror.
Wow, who'd have known? But besides that, how have you been over the last few months or so?
Yeah, hanging in there, keeping in there.
I think we all are.
Yeah, that's it. Trying to survive.
Just waiting for the end of the year, pretty much.
Yeah. Christmas.
Yeah, they're already advertising for Christmas, which is a bit ridiculous because every year, I don't know necessarily in America, but in England, it's always like the advert wars.
Yeah.
Where all the big chains have like their special Christmas.
It's the thing, it's not like official. No one says it. It's just, it's happening.
You know it's happening. I think, and it's kind of annoying because they're like mad promoting it as well. Yeah. And even the UK shop Iceland, they've even got in on it a bit with the cross promotion with Frozen 2 of all things.
Because I saw Frozen, I was like, okay, what advert is this? Iceland. I was like, oh,
that's original animation. You know, that's not from the film. Disney weirdly have animated that specifically for the shop Iceland.
Wow.
So if you're a big Disney Frozen fan, definitely check out those trailers if you just can't get enough Frozen, because as we all know, there just isn't enough Disney's Frozen in this world.
You can never have too much.
Yeah, you can never have too much. Well, that's what Disney wants you to think. But besides that, we have a pretty interesting podcast. We have, because when I was putting it together, I realized it's very much split in between, like, it kind of caters to both of us. You know, I think you definitely have the first half. I technically have, like, the later second half for the most part.
Yeah.
And, I'm pretty excited for this podcast, but we got to discuss the things we've done over the last few weeks or so. I know it's been a while since you were on the podcast, but let me know some of the things you've been up to, like films you've watched and stuff like that for the most part.
Well, I finally finished Frasier, so I got the complete like box set.
Oh yeah, I think I know you've had that for a while.
Started it a while ago, went back to it probably a couple months ago, and it's finally done. Mm-hmm. So I'm happy with that. Happy with how it ended. Mm-hmm. And then I find out that there's a program called Cheers.
Oh yeah,
Frasier Crane is also in that. So I'm like, when will it end? I'm enjoying it, and I need to watch Cheers now. But I thought I'd finish with that chapter.
Because no one really says, because like Cheers is before Frasier, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So Frasier's technically the sequel to Cheers.
Yeah. So I've got to start that. So that's the next one.
I don't think Cheers is as long though. Okay. I don't think it is.
Cool.
Yeah, but I think I've watched both, but obviously not as much as you, I'd imagine. Every now and then I watch a bit of Frasier, and like that's just classic.
Yeah,
really.
Classic.
That's just classic.
Can't get any better than that. Kelsey Grammer at his finest. Yeah.
Anything else?
I've been checking out his Dark Materials on BBC.
Oh, that started.
So that started. That's been cool actually. I think it's on episode 2 at the moment. But I remember I used to have the books as well.
Oh yeah.
I say used to because I could not find them. Mm-hmm. So I've downloaded them onto my phone and I've been reading them from that. So you've been
enjoyable. Reading and watching at the same time.
Yeah.
And you've been going, oh, that didn't happen in the book.
Get it right.
Immediately on Twitter complaining, I've just read that chapter. That's not how it played out.
You know it.
Not to make you sound like that on Twitter. I don't know why I'm using that voice, but I like the general complainer basically.
That's
voice.
Not right.
How was it?
No, it's cool. I'm enjoying the books a lot more than the program.
It goes without saying, really.
Exactly. But no, it's all right. I think it's great for this time of year as well, because obviously November, December, Christmas time. Mm-hmm. It's been cool to have on as a Sunday show because it comes on Sundays. So yeah.
So it's kind of replaced the newest series of Doctor Who for the time being.
Yeah. To some,
because they moved it to Sunday for some reason. Which they claim was the only reason why it kind of didn't do too well. But there was, unfortunately, lots of other reasons why. It doesn't just come down to gender, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But that's interesting to hear. I don't know if I'll check it out, because I watched the trailer and I was like,
You know what? I think it would be a good show to watch, just run through, rather than each week.
Like in a row? Like, how long is each episode?
About an hour, I think.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, then again, it's a BBC show, isn't it?
Yeah.
BBC and I think HBO production as well.
Yeah,
it's a team up. They are. I can kind of tell they desperately want this to be the next Game of Thrones.
That's what I've heard as well. But already it's not.
It's not.
No offense.
I mean, I know the story roughly of the books. It's not. And I mean, I don't know much about Game of Thrones, obviously, but I'm pretty sure it's not going to be as epic or as interesting.
It doesn't
or,
have the same impact.
I guess shocking as Game of Thrones is, apparently.
Yeah.
But if it's good, it's good. I mean, I don't mind. I didn't really like the lead actress's acting. I thought it was a bit weird. But
Okay.
I don't know. She's kind of a child, I guess, isn't she? So
yeah.
Anything else?
Apart from that, I've just been catching up with the new Bob's Burgers and Family Guy.
Oh, okay.
And then I watched the last Rick and Morty. So I think they brought that out last week, the first episode of season 4.
I didn't watch it because I think we're getting the new series airing, I think, towards the end of November on E4.
Wow.
Yeah, okay. I just forgot to watch it. Yeah, Adult Swim and Channel 4 have a partnership now.
Oh, sweet. Did not know that.
Yeah, which is cool. So we're getting a lot of Adult Swim shows as well as a lot of anime on All 4, which is their website counterpart.
Oh, great.
So, yeah, I'm looking forward to season 4. I haven't watched it yet. But I know...
I might wait then if it's going to come out. Because I've been trying
but then
to find it
again,
online.
even when it does air on, I think it's the 20th of November, it's going to be weekly.
Oh,
so you might as well just watch with
yeah.
the American streaming of it.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to it. The trailer looked great, and I think they've pretty much said that they've pretty much ironed out all the issues, so there won't be any big breaks between seasons.
That's good.
So I think they've pretty much said that. I think they've low-key confirmed that season 5 is next year.
Okay.
So that's good, and Bob's Burgers is always good, as we already know. But yeah,
that's about it. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. So busy.
Yeah.
Busy for the most part. I've been busy, not necessarily in like film watching and TV watching. I only really watched like one film, and that was I think it's like came out in 2000, and it's Chris Morris's Four Lions.
Oh, that was cool. I watched that a couple of years ago. Yeah.
Which I only watched it just recently, and boy, that is a really, really funny film.
It's good, right?
Yes, it's surprisingly good.
Yeah.
And I think the main reason why I guess it maybe gets forgotten about is, I guess, the subject matter. And for those of you who don't know what Four Lions is about, it's essentially about a group of Muslim men who decide they want to be terrorist bombers and blow up something within England. So it's a very touchy subject. Even for 2000, that was a really touchy situation to essentially be going, here's a comedy about this.
We're gonna make you laugh about it.
Yeah, and the way they do it is quite interesting because it is funny, but they do kind of make, let's say, our main characters, they do kind of make them a bit idiotic, a bit stupid. You kind of do want to see them triumph, but at the same time you realize they are kind of terrible, paranoid, misguided, very stupid people. But at the same time, there are a lot of cases where they do present like British people as being just the same, paranoid idiots to some extent. Very, very funny film. I don't really want to ruin too much in the film because there are some quality written like scenes and lines in that film which just had me laughing up. Mainly the scene with the bottles of bleach, which which I had to watch that bit after because I was like, wow, is this like the best like written scene in all the film? But it's a really strong film. Obviously, I know it's America's favorite film as well. Rated number 1. But if you don't consider yourself pretentious or you're not one of those people who thinks you know everything about the world, I definitely recommend watching it. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm looking forward to his next film, which is The Day Shall Come, which we talked about that on the podcast. Essentially about like a radical leader, essentially, and I think the CIA is trying to like stop him but stitch him up for crimes he hasn't done. Okay. So it's kind of along the lines of, I guess you could say, controversial subject matters because there are a lot of like groups that are like far right leaning, far left leaning, cult stuff and that. So it kind of seems to deal with that, but it also, once again, it's kind of poking fun at America because the CIA are just like, we got to frame this guy. I got to make my boss look good. I got to look good to my boss. Yeah. So I'm interested to see how that film turns out. Because I think the most famous actor in there is Anna Kendrick. Weirdly enough.
Okay.
That's pretty much all I did. Other than getting a ton of things edited for the most part. But this podcast has been crazy. well, I shouldn't say podcast, but this week has been crazy in terms of things we put on the podcast.
Okay.
So we talk about the first trailer, which we're going to briefly talk about, which is the new official trailer for Sonic the Hedgehog 2020, not to be mistaken with 2019.
Yep.
Quick thing I want to mention, the original trailer with the original Sonic design on Paramount's official YouTube channel has been deleted. So grab your copy of that trailer while you can, because I have a feeling that they're going to possibly try and scrub
erase
the internet.
that from history.
Maybe, but that design's gone, which is a bit annoying because you can't really watch it, but you can find it. Someone has it. And this is the new trailer with the new Sonic design after pretty much everyone on planet Earth said they hated the design. The only people who said they liked the design are just contrarians. I don't think anyone actually likes the design.
It was awful.
It was bad in so many ways that we discussed. I mean, the main issue was it did not look like Sonic the Hedgehog. Everyone knows what Sonic the Hedgehog looks like. I do, you do, your parents know what Sonic looks like.
That was not Sonic.
That was not Sonic. And although most people say the design was like the worst part of the trailer, everything else in the film wasn't great.
Yeah.
It was not great. And I think that's what a lot of people are getting caught up on, is that, people are going, oh man, now the design looks good, the film looks good. It's like, the film doesn't look good. I think they've definitely changed his voice, made it a little bit more like cartoony, which I like. I prefer that voice. And it definitely seems like they're definitely trying to put a little bit more emphasis on like speed and Sonic actually doing what Sonic does. For example, at the end of the trailer, he's running down the Great Wall of China, and I was like, hey, that looks like kind of a decent, fun scene. That makes sense. Sonic would be running fast down one of the longest, structures in the world. But everything else is just kind of like whatever for the most part. Your thoughts, I guess?
I mean, the redesign's great. It looks a lot more like Sonic.
Oh, yeah.
But to be honest, from where they started, it was only up from there, wasn't it?
Yeah, because I think I might have argued this on the podcast, where it was like, if you're going to go back and redesign his design, why don't you just restart on the whole film? The acting isn't great. The story isn't great. So much isn't good with this film.
But this is the thing about the storyline as well. So from the second trailer, so I watched it twice. First watch, I thought, okay, cool, redesign's cool. But then I was kind of left at, oh, where's the storyline going? I actually didn't take that much notice of it.
Yeah,
So I watched it a second time, and I still didn't take much notice. I wasn't sure if I just was zoning out, or wasn't concentrating because actually I'm not going to like this movie, or if they didn't actually say the direction that the movie's going to go.
Yeah, we still don't have like a solid story. I guess as far as we can tell from both trailers, it seems like, well, clearly Sonic came from his world, and he's now in our world, which is like the most overused trope in all of the movie type, because every film does that. We're in the real world now, which is quite annoying. And I guess it's like he knocks out all the power in the town, and then they call Dr. Robotnik to figure out what it is. But it's bizarre because he doesn't know what Sonic is, clearly, because he sees Sonic and he screams, which seems to be a weird running gag in the film of people just screaming at things, or getting scared, which, whatever. Which is kind of odd, because it does make me wonder, like, so what was Sonic doing in his world this whole time?
Exactly.
Like, was it just peaceful? Like, after the film ends, is his world not going to be peaceful? Is this like a prequel to the games?
The thing is as well, Dr. Robotnik was from Sonic's world, was he not?
Sonic what, sorry?
Dr. Robotnik, wasn't he from the same world as Sonic?
I think so,
but suddenly now he doesn't have any idea who Sonic is or what he's about.
I mean, I don't know. Like Sonic, like
so many questions.
Yeah, Robotnik was always in Sonic's world, and Sonic's world isn't our world for the sake of arguments. I'm guessing what they want to do. I'm guessing it's a prequel. I'm guessing this is how Robotnik ended up in Sonic's world, because in the original trailer you see Robotnik in Sonic's world, what I presume is Sonic's world, and he has like the iconic mustache and the goggles.
Right, yeah.
Because after he gets blown up, I guess he gets sent to that world, and that's like the ending of the film. That was my guess. Right. Is this is meant to be like a prequel to how Sonic started, because the first Sonic game doesn't specify that. There's no real story in Sonic. The first 3 Sonic or 4 Sonic games don't have a story. It's just got to beat the bad guy. which is fine. You know, it was the 90s. That's understandable.
This
That was,
is it.
you know, that was storyless game design. What's the story of Mario? There is no real story. Got to save the princess from, you know, Koopa. So it's a shame, though. I mean, because I don't think the story is going to be that interesting, because from the trailer, it doesn't seem like there is a story.
Yeah.
It's just a team up, maybe body cop kind of thing. But it also begs the question, how exactly are you going to stop Sonic? If this is Robotnik before he was in Sonic's world, he shouldn't have an answer to stop Sonic, in theory. Because he should, in theory, be the fastest and most unstoppable thing in our world.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that works. But, I mean, what I'm going to say is I'll be interested in the reviews when this film comes out. I'm pretty sure everyone's going to praise the design. I'm sure some people are going to give it leeway in that. One thing I want to quickly mention, though, which a few people made a very good point of, is a lot of people are trying to say that this is all like a conspiracy, like a plan, as in like they intentionally made his design bad so they can go and change it later in order to, like, you know, get hype and publicity in that, which makes sense. People have created fake, you know, imagery and stuff like that. But you also have to keep in mind there's a lot of cases where films have had really ugly character designs and they've remained unchanged despite the fact people are saying it's absolutely awful. For example, the Michael Bay produced Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Okay, yeah.
That was ugly and everyone hated it. They did not change the design, did they? No, they didn't. I think it was honestly the case of, going back to the previous podcast, of this is our Sonic. We know we make Sonic look good. We know how he should look good.
This is what you get.
Yeah, this is just some idiot American guy going, well, if we make him look like this, we can market him like this, and he can, you know, they just, you know, because at the end of the day, it's ultimately an American adaptation of Sonic the Hedgehog, who is an American designed character, and they just want to bastardize him and make money off of him, because America doesn't make money off Sonic. Japan does. If you make a Sonic film, they make the money off Sonic, not Japan. And that is the real reason why they are making remakes of properties outside of America. Not because they're racist, but because of we want to make the money off that. That's why they don't remake games that have no audience, no fandom. They don't touch anime franchises that don't have any, like, you know, notoriety to them, because they won't make money.
It's all about that moolah, baby.
It's all about the money, but you don't make a lot of money at the end of the day, and this film certainly won't make a lot of money. Unfortunately, the damage has already been done. So
it was initially supposed to be released on November, right?
Yes, it was originally meant to be out right now at the time of this podcast going out.
And now it's being released February next year.
February, yeah.
Supposedly.
Supposedly it might get pushed back. You know, oh, I don't like Robotnik's design, change it. You know, given that people on Twitter basically got their way, you know, who's to say what else can be changed?
Who knows?
But we shall see. That was
storyline, actors,
cast,
you know, crew.
Pretty much the whole film just is being remade right now as we speak. But yeah, I think we talked about Sonic enough. I think that's the first time on this podcast we've ever talked about the same technical trailer twice.
True. Nice. It's the first time for everything.
That's true. Speaking of remakes, technically as well, we got our next trailer.
I was going to say, is this a remake?
Do you want to introduce this trailer then?
So, okay, this is the introduction to The Invisible Man. I believe it's next year release?
I think so.
Yeah. So movie for next year. First question, is it a remake? Just because I feel like it's been done before, but I wasn't sure if the literal storyline had been done before, or had they taken inspiration from blah, blah.
Okay, so the first thing to know about this film was this was meant to be like the next film in like Universal's Dark Pictures anthology, like the whole cinematic universe, you know, following The Mummy.
Is it not?
No, it's not. This is because that basically fell through because The Mummy was garbage and no one wanted to see a cinematic universe with the Universal monsters. Originally, Johnny Depp was going to play the Invisible Man in a Universal film, but obviously that fell through because, once again, no one wanted to see that. It was a massive flop. So they essentially gave the rights of the Invisible Man to Blumhouse to do a smaller, low-budget Invisible Man film, which is a smart idea financially. This film is its own story, basically taking the concept of the Invisible Man.
Right.
It's neither the Invisible Man from 1933, nor is it Hollow Man. It's its own story.
Cool.
So that's the first thing to get
Clear
straight. Although they do make a reference to the 1933 Invisible Man in the trailer. The guy who's laying in the hospital, he's bandaged up. with glasses, very much like how
sure.
the original Invisible Man looked, which was a very
yeah.
nice reference to the original film, which is great.
Nice. I mean, I am interested in it. So the woman's partner supposedly killed himself.
Yeah.
And then I think some way through his will, he offers her about $5 million or something.
Yeah.
But she has to basically agree to never say that she's mentally unstable.
Something like that.
Something like that. So already you know something's going to happen. Shit's about to go down.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yes, she wants the money, I'm guessing. But I'm guessing she doesn't want to sign that she can't say that she's mentally ill.
Yeah. Or has some issues, yeah.
Or has issues, yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. We don't get too much from the trailer. Potentially, it has the potential to do well, I think. But it could easily fall flat on its face.
I mean, I think they revealed too much in this trailer,
Do you
honestly.
think?
Yeah.
See, I don't know if I'm just missing... I don't know if I'm missing something or if I'm just expecting there to be a whole other story attached to it, which we didn't see in the trailer. But if that's literally all we saw in the trailer, then I'm not feeling this movie.
I think that was pretty much everything, honestly.
Oh, God, don't.
I think we roughly saw the whole outline of the film.
Oh, wow.
I think it's one of those trailers, because keep in mind, the trailer's over 2 minutes long. That's too long for a trailer. I mean, I'm a bit indifferent to this film, and I have a lot to say about this film, because there's a lot to technically say about this film. I think the whole concept of, how you put it, him being like a jealous, sociopathic, like, boyfriend who essentially wants to drive her crazy by turning invisible, and that... I think that's a genius modern day adaptation of the Invisible Man. That makes so much sense. I think that's brilliant. Yeah. That aspect I think is fantastic. That's strong. That's probably the best like part of the film. You know, the whole idea that he can essentially do all these things to her and no one's going to believe her because she has a history of being mentally ill, or they're going to think that she's mentally ill because oh, it was the Invisible Man. You know, obviously it's classic, but it's modern. Yeah. Yeah. It makes complete sense, and I like that. At the same time, the problem I have with this film is it's very unbelievable and believable, because it's really hard to believe that this sociopath just made a machine that makes him invisible. Yeah. You can't be mentally ill, basically, and create a machine that no one else has created in the world.
And then you're just going to use it to torture your wife.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So to be fair, maybe he didn't make it. Maybe he bought it. Someone else made it for him, but he still has it. Obviously, I mean, you can't be both. You need to be one or the other. You need to be like crazy or like smart. And yes, I know. So I know, like, you know, serial killers and sociopaths are smart. Yeah. I know they're very clever, apparently. But that's still a bit. It's where you kind of lose me in terms of this concept where it's like, oh, we just had that.
Yeah.
Like, because realistically, if that thing really existed, he would not have it. Even if he did make it, the government would have killed him a long time and taken that.
You know who's going to have that.
Simply put, which does spoil the film for me. And then I think the film and the concept kind of falls apart when I really, you know, start thinking about it. I mean, like, for example, I get that he wants to torture her. He wants to make her drive her crazy, put her in a mental asylum. He's going to get his revenge and he's going to kill her. I find it a bit bizarre that he then just starts killing people. Yeah. Like, he's giving himself away. Yeah. I know he's probably trying to go, oh, but she's the one killing him, but no. When you're literally killing people in broad daylight and there's literally a person being flung around, no, it kind of seems like counterproductive, where it's like, oh, you're just giving yourself away now. I thought that was like so stupid for the most part. And yeah, one thing as well is he's naked.
Is he?
Yeah, he's naked. Yeah, he's naked. And that's the one way, because obviously it's like, how do you beat the Invisible Man? In some of the original films, obviously you cover him with something. Sure. The best way to defeat this guy, and I know it's going to be really graphic, and obviously we're going to have to bump this product up to 18 rating, is you cut his penis. Right. There is no man on this earth who is not going to attend to their wounds if their penis has been cut. It will bleed, and his hands will be down there. That's what strangling him is not going to do anything, because he's already mental and you don't care. Exactly. You know what I mean? That's what you're supposed to do. Cover him with something.
But then it's interesting, because you get to think like, oh, what's his wife going to do to try and kill him?
In the trailer, she's like trying to strangle him and stab him. I'm like, I'm going to do nothing to him, because he can just like jump out a window and you'll never find him again. Exactly. If you cut him in a certain way, like, you know, the organ that's going to bleed the most that you can get access to is the penis. Yeah. You know what I mean? He's gonna react. He's gonna talk.
True.
He's not gonna just go, "Oh no, just stay quiet." No.
That hurt.
Which is a bit of a shame. That's how you ultimately beat the Invisible Man to some extent. I know it's a bit graphic, but that's how it works. Or cover him with something, or wait till it's snowing, I guess. But it's weird though, because I think the way they're kind of handling the story of the Invisible Man is not as great if they've done it in other films. Of him just like he was always crazy. So for example, let's use The Invisible Man from 1933, the original classic adaptation. He was like essentially like an arsehole, like an egotistical scientist who essentially made himself invisible. And over the course of just being hassled by people wanting to work, and he essentially basically went mad and was like, no one can stop me, I'm invincible. That makes sense, because that film was technically a comedy.
Kanye West flow.
Pretty much, yeah. That film was technically a comedy to some extent. Like, there's points where he's just chasing people, like, with a shirt on, just because he can. And then in Hollow Man, the reason why he goes crazy is because they were testing this. They were seeing if they could make someone invisible. He was a willing test subject. He did the experiment. It worked. And he essentially went crazy because he couldn't sleep. His eyelids were invisible. So when he shut his eyelids, he couldn't sleep. He couldn't cover his eyes. As well as other things, like the fact that people couldn't see him. The fact that he was invisible, the downside of being invisible drove him insane. But now we just have a story of, he just had this machine, he turns invisible, he's going to torture his girlfriend. It's lame in comparison.
True.
Which is a shame, because I think that concept of it literally being a serial killer, stalker, boyfriend wanting revenge works so well. So it's a bit of a shame that it's a little bit, the film just basically falls apart after the initial concept, where it's just like, it's a slasher film, we got to edit it like the Get Out trailer, you know what I mean? It's just annoying. Anything else to say on this one?
I will say I like the woman who plays the wife or partner, Elizabeth Moss. So she was in Us. She was in Handmaid's Tale. Yeah. But no, I do like her. So I would watch it for her.
Obviously, she's going to be the main character because the main villain is invisible. But yeah. Shall we move on to our next trailer, which I believe you're going to be covering as well?
So next trailer is Servant. So that's an Apple TV Plus.
Apple TV Plus.
program.
This is the first Apple TV Plus thing we're going to be talking about on this podcast.
Yeah. Hey, and it's a horror potentially.
Maybe
psychological thriller.
Comedy.
Comedy. But no, this one I'm looking forward to. It was done by M. Night Shyamalan.
M. Night Shyamalan.
So, I mean, his stuff is either hit or miss. So hopefully this is a hit. We'll see.
I'm hoping. I think it's interesting to see him do a TV series. This is his first TV series, which I think is interesting, and I think he tends to work better in with a smaller budget. So him doing a smaller scale thing, I think could lead to possibly a little bit of genius there to some extent. This trailer caught me by surprise. Obviously, because there was a very surprising scene. First thing in the trailer, you're like, "Oh my god,
what's happening?"
Which is interesting. Why? I mean, it's odd because the first thing to mention is, which really bothered me, is who calls their child Jericho.
I know, right? Okay.
As in Clive Barker's Jericho, the guy who does all those horror games, like Jericho, which, I know it's like a Hebrew name that possibly means several things, but that's an evil sounding name. That's it's almost as evil as there's that other name that I think in Egyptian it translates to slivers from.
Oh. Okay.
Obviously the name
guys, don't name your children that.
Come on. I forget, there's literally a name that translates to slivers from. In Egyptian. I can't remember the name, but obviously you can Google it. Just type in slivers from and you'll figure it out. Oh. Don't name your child that. And Jericho, that's a very questionable name.
It is.
Which kind of took me back. I was like, you're just asking for something bad to happen.
Yeah.
When you're naming your child Jericho.
Literally.
But I also like to call this film Wednesday Addams the later years as well, because the other actress looks like it's basically what Wednesday Addams would be doing.
Yeah.
Like, you got some creepy baby doll here. Yeah, I'll look after that. It's interesting though.
It is.
I'm getting a lot of vibes from Rosemary's Baby.
This is what I picked up on as well, and I wasn't sure if I was just making it up or wanting it to be going down that route or whatever, but I did pick up those vibes, so we'll see.
As well as vibes from The Boy.
Okay.
That classic
And they've
film.
got The Boy 2 coming out, right?
Oh shit!
Next year? Who knows?
The Boy 2.
Another podcast.
Yeah, podcast special. The Boy 2 review. Yeah, that's on the commentary track review list. So it's got like kind of vibes of those two films for the most part, which is interesting. I think my main worry, which I kind of throw out there, is for those of you who are kind of wondering, like, oh, is this a real thing with like having a prosthetic doll for a baby as a child? Yes, that is a real thing. There are people who do have those, both mothers and fathers, who certain situations happen where they have that, whether it's the case of, unfortunately they might lose a child, or people just simply would rather have a young child or a baby for as long as possible. That is a subcultural thing that you do find in the world, which I think is interesting because I've never really seen that in a film.
Yeah, that's true.
But at the same time, I hope that they treat that with respect, because unfortunately it looks like the film and the trailer possibly alluding to the fact that the wife is crazy or is becoming crazy, and hopefully it isn't just the case of, oh, people who have like dolls as babies are crazy people. They're crazy ladies. I hope the film doesn't just become that.
Yeah.
Although they seem to imply that maybe the mother killed the child originally.
This is it. I got that as well.
Which is interesting, because then why replace it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's very odd, and it's a creepy looking doll as well.
It is a bit odd.
It's odd because it is his eyes. And
I think it's that scene in the trailer when you still think the baby's alive and real, and the way the dad just picks it up
by its legs upside down.
Okay.
I was like,
fair enough.
Which I think that was a great kind of reveal on that.
Yeah.
So hopefully, obviously, if people don't go in seeing the trailer, hopefully that will be like a really startling scene where they go, "Oh my god, what the hell is he doing?" Hopefully,
but it kind of demonstrates his character as well.
Yeah.
Because obviously he loves his wife. They've got the doll to, I guess, deal with their loss.
Yeah.
But you can tell that the wife's really up for it, but the dad partner is just doing it for her.
Yeah.
So he may have not gotten over, but he may be dealing with it a lot better than she's dealing with it.
Possibly, yeah. Or he might just be like sick of this thing.
Yeah, just want to get rid.
Yeah, I mean, you looked at that baby's face. Of course, I want to get rid of that.
But then also the nanny, there's something up with her. So
which they don't really say. That's like the biggest secret in the trailer. Like, I think it's implied the mother definitely did something.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the case of the child just died. I think something happened, whether it was of her own fault or not.
Yeah.
But the girl, whoever she is, and what's going on with her, because she definitely seems very comfortable, and not in like a super creepy way neither. She just seems odd, which is sometimes even scarier than psychopathic, because we don't know what this girl is on,
what her game is.
Yeah,
and there's the quote at the end of the trailer, or near the end, where it says, "Do you know what you've entered into your home?"
Yeah, do you know? Which is like, who, like, because and I do appreciate they didn't spoil that, because we're like, who, like, because who's the real villain here?
That's it.
Because I find that character, despite the fact she's barely in it, very interesting. So hopefully, possibly through writing and performance, we do get like a really strong thing. Hopefully it's not something dumb. Because obviously with M. Night Shyamalan,
this is it.
There's going to be a twist. And obviously they've alluded to 2 twists. Hopefully it's not dumb. Let's just say, hopefully it's not just the baby's alive or something like that.
It's always alive.
The dog, like the boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy. But yeah, interested in this. I can't wait to illegally watch it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I'm not getting Apple TV.
Hell no.
Hell no. But to be fair, it's like the only good thing on there right now.
Yeah.
So
true.
I will give it that for the most part. And you have the next trailer as well. I think it's probably best to hand this to you.
Yeah. So Color Out of Space. Which is an interesting title.
Yeah, I think it's like a story from H.P. Lovecraft.
Oh, okay.
I think, anyway, or inspired by something by him.
So yeah, this is another movie with Nicolas Cage. And I think done by the same people who did Mandy.
Producers.
Who,
gotta get that clear. It's not the same director.
Right. I didn't watch Mandy, so I still need to watch that.
You need to watch Mandy.
But yeah, Color Out of Space. Interesting. The trailer kind of opens into this new family home. I guess they've just moved in.
One of the most overused tropes in horror ever.
And then suddenly, dun dun dun, there's like a meteorite that just lands into their
alien time
into their property, or on their grounds at least. But it's weird because it kind of emits a pinkish purplish colour. People are like, okay, cool, whatever. I guess some time has passed since it's crash landed.
I'd imagine, yeah.
Because it seems to like sort of plant or like give birth to some supernatural thing, and then I don't know, mad shit just happens.
Yeah,
crazy shit happens.
It's basically like the synopsis of the rest of the film to some extent. It's essentially, the way I was looking at this, it seems like it's very much going to be like the family friendly but still kind of graphic Mandy with elements of Poltergeist.
Okay.
Because, you know, with the whole family, because I think, sorry, excuse me, although I can't really confirm it, it does seem like the family's changing as well. I can kind of tell that kid is going to be an absolute shithead.
This is the thing. I think so. The daughter seems to change throughout the trailer.
Her skin's like messed up at one point.
But I'm not sure the little boy does.
I think he changes, but not physically. Because there's a point where he's like going, "Shh, I can hear them," or something like that.
Okay. So something's communicating.
He's
with him.
changed in some way. It's interesting though as a concept. I mean, yeah, there's really interesting things within this trailer. Like, I like the fact that this alien thing, whatever it comes into contact with, it changes it in really nonsensical ways.
Yeah.
You know, like for example, like the water becomes slimy and stuff like that. It reminds me a lot of Annihilation. True. Like kind of like the effect and this kind of like alien thing changing around a dome kind of thing. Which is interesting because I think they were both based on books or stories to some extent. So it's kind of interesting how they have like a very similar concept. And I think for a split second you can see like some horrible mutated creature because they mentioned the barn. Like they mentioned there's something in the barn.
Yeah.
And you get like a brief shot of it, and I'm like, that's not distinguishable. That's not like a person or an animal.
That's not a cow.
Certainly not a cow. I think it's definitely trying to be like cosmic and magical.
Yeah.
And like horrific in some sense.
Yeah.
So, and I'm wondering about the tone of this film. Like, I can't. Is this a film children can watch? You know, like, or is this like a straight? Yeah, is it a family film? Like, I don't think it is, obviously, because I think that horrible creature is horrible, obviously. But I'm really wondering about the tone of this film. Like, I feel like there's almost too much in this film. I feel like you maybe wanted to like scale it back, maybe just focus on family, you know, changing, or like there's a monster or something like that. I mean, they may balance it out, but I guess my biggest problem with this film is they're really banking on Mandy. Like, Mandy, producers of Mandy. Yeah. Mandy's a great film. Yeah. But not a lot of people have seen Mandy. Mandy's unfortunately one of those films that a lot of people know about. They've just never seen it. Yeah. I watched it day one it opened and I thought it was fantastic. But I still feel like not a lot of people have seen it. I think they've just seen the scenes of it. Yeah. Because Nicolas Cage is in it, and most people watch it because Nicolas Cage is in it. Yeah, I kind of hope it kind of isn't just, we did something like Mandy because people like Mandy and Nicolas Cage. And I mean, yeah, I'm always happy to see Nicolas Cage in a film like this because his performance will either be pretty good or entertaining at least. Yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna keep my eye on this one. I've heard things about this film. I've heard mixed things about this film. Some people saying it's fantastic. Some people saying it's not great. But I'll be looking forward to it.
Yeah. I think it's one to definitely watch out for.
Yeah, definitely one to maybe watch someday, I guess. Yeah. Do we move on to the next trailer?
Yeah.
So the next trailer, the eagerly anticipated Scoob, essentially based on the Scooby-Doo franchise, which is over 50 years old at this point. Wow. A franchise that truly has, standed the test of time, literally. I mean, there has technically been, since its inception, there has almost been something television/film wise released on Scooby-Doo for 50 years. Wow. There has either always been a film or there's always been a TV series airing of Scooby-Doo.
Gosh, that's crazy.
Consistent as hell. So we finally have the trailer, which I've been looking forward to this film because one thing I don't think a lot of people know about me, I am a massive Scooby-Doo fan. It's not even funny. You asked me about Scooby-Doo, I know. I've watched almost every I've watched almost every single adaptation of it televised. Not all the films, but I know it just like that. So obviously this is a big deal for me to watch this trailer because it's like the reboot they want to do. I think Warner Bros is trying to do like a Hanna-Barbera cinematic universe. I don't think it's going to tie into other Hanna-Barbera properties, but I think they want to do more Hanna-Barbera cartoons, most likely in this style. which would be interesting given the contrast of the comics they did, where they had like Wacky Racers meet Mad Max, or a Flintstones continuation, or Scooby-Doo Apocalypse, which was a futuristic horror version of Scooby-Doo, which was really cool. Or they did like, that's what. Yeah, definitely check out Scooby-Doo Apocalypse. That's if you want to see something that really goes all the way with Scooby-Doo, definitely check that out. And what was the other one? They did like a mini series with I think it's the character. It's like the pink cat. I don't think he's called Snagglepuss, but they did one series with one of the characters where he was talking about how he was gay or something like that, which was really interesting. Like he was essentially fighting for the rights of homosexuality and people of that species. Very interesting stuff. If you look up the new Hanna-Barbera comics that DC did, definitely check out all of those because they're very interesting to some extent.
Cool.
But obviously this is going back to basics. It's meant to be kind of an origin story of Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, I was going to say origin story because we kind of see how him and Shaggy meet and how he gets his name. So yeah, it was a nice little intro.
Which was very trailer. Uneventful.
Yeah.
Like you just named him just like that.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't even play into his character.
True.
Which in the original series, the reason he gets his name is because he's clumsy. He's a big dog and he's clumsy, and they're like, oh, he's such a, that kind of goes into his name to some extent. And if I was Scooby-Doo, I wouldn't be happy with that name. But that's something else to get into. And I think it's also kind of bizarre they're just going to ignore like the canon of a pup called Scooby-Doo, which was the actual origin of Scooby-Doo and the gang. So I was like, you messed that up. But I kind of do and don't like this trailer, unfortunately, because the things that are really good about it is I love the look of it. I think the animation is quite nice. It's very fluid. I think the character designs are pretty great.
Yeah.
Scooby-Doo is pretty much unchanged, which is fine. You don't need to change him. I think the biggest problem with this trailer, as far as I'm seeing, is Scooby-Doo himself.
Why?
Yeah. The biggest problem is him talking.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Not that he's talking, but the fact that he's talking a lot more.
Right, yeah.
Because the problem is you either needed to have just made him talk clearly, like he's a talking dog that can talk and everyone can understand him, or make him that he's barely understandable, and that's kind of the charm with him. Because the great thing that made Scooby-Doo such an iconic and interesting character was the fact that he was basically a silent character. He was a silent actor. He was a mime. He was a clown to some extent.
Yeah.
He couldn't really communicate with the gang, so a lot of the time he would, act and perform and do all that kind of stuff, which gave him a level of like, animation. It made him like the best piece of animation you would see in an episode. But with him talking so clearly,
how is that now going to affect that?
It takes away. There's no need for him to be doing all these wild, crazy actions because it just looks odd. Because I understand what he's saying. I always have understood what he's saying. So they've basically lost that aspect of Scooby-Doo's character, in my opinion.
That's
which
a good point.
I think is a bit silly. Because, I don't have an issue with him talking. It's just they should have one or the other.
That's not who he is.
No. Because the problem is, if you wanted to do your own version of Scooby-Doo, do your own version of Scooby-Doo. We've done like 28 versions of Scooby-Doo. I'm fine with seeing another adaptation. It's a bit bizarre. I don't really like that aspect. And it's odd. It doesn't work because he's speaking just a bit too clearly, but he still has his iconic voice. Yeah. Which is bothersome because I'm of the two minds that if he could understand humans, he should be able to talk a little bit better than that by now.
Come on, it's been 50 years.
Yeah, I understand in the context of this film, he's like 7 years old, maybe, but he should be able to talk a little bit better than that. And that was kind of like my biggest gripe with it, where they've lost a really important aspect of Scooby-Doo's character. I agree with
you on that one, actually.
Which is a bit of a shame. Because they've been faithful in so many other ways, but then I don't know where this decision has come from. Yeah. I don't think anyone in the history is going, I can't understand Scooby-Doo. I mean, he's not Bane. So, it's odd. I mean, they should have gone one with the other. And the voice cast as well, I have like a few issues with as well. I mean, in no way do I think the performances are bad. Yeah. I think they're fantastic. I think the voice cast is very strong for who they got. The only problem with, I think it's their performance or their cadence, really. Obviously, I mentioned Scooby Doo. His voice is fine, but he just doesn't need that like slur or whatever it is he's using there. Velma sounds like a woman, which is very bizarre because I get what they're probably trying to go for. They're probably trying to go for the whole smart equals maturity.
Okay.
Maybe.
Sure.
But she doesn't look like an 18-year-old or 16-year-old. She sounds like a 29-year-old woman. Whereas Daphne sounds like a 16-year-old, which is very bizarre. And Shaggy, his voice is all over the place.
It's everywhere.
Like I honestly, like, trust me, go back, everyone listening, go back and watch the trailer and watch the bit when they're on the spaceship. Listen to Shaggy's voice, because it goes from the classic kind of hippie, kind of high-pitched voice to the new version of Shaggy's voice. Yeah. And I don't understand, like, it clearly seems like they couldn't decide. Like, at some point they must have been saying, oh no, do it like the classic, like, Shaggy voice. No, but do it more like your own Shaggy voice. In that particular scene, it goes all over the place. And it's really distracting, because as for someone who has watched Scooby-Doo for so long and knows what Shaggy sounds like, it sounds like a mess. It doesn't sound like another person doing a voice or Shaggy's voice. It sounds like it's just like a scale. It's going up and down, up and down.
That sucks. And I hope the movie itself is consistent, though.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got a while until it's released, so I hope they don't chop and change, like, for the worst.
They so could easily. I mean, I'm kind of very indifferent to the story. I'm like, are we doing aliens again?
Yeah.
Like, we did that in, like, the 4th film.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not going to be a monster. It's just going to be some rich asshole.
Yeah.
That's not a spoiler. That's my theory, just to get that straight before anyone's, oh, you're spoiling the film. That's my theory. It's just going to be some rich asshole who just has access and money to a spaceship or whatever, because it's not really aliens. Which I think is a bit bizarre, and like the robots remind me of the mouses from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh yeah,
which is a bit distracting as well, but that's no fault of the film, obviously. That's just simple character design. The comedy in this film is very bizarre, I find. The line about IKEA.
Oh yeah.
I was like,
did they just have to drop that in there, or? I was
like, is IKEA funny? Because I don't know what IKEA you've been to, but I've never been to an IKEA that looks like that.
Yeah.
An Apple shop looks like that, if anything. Yeah. Maybe they couldn't get the rights to saying the word Apple. I don't know.
Next best.
and then the line about, like, what, Daphne's dad being an alcoholic was
I completely
really
missed that.
weird.
Where was that?
Yeah, Velma, she's like looking at something. She's like, oh, there's traces of this and like a whiskey or vodka. And then Daphne goes, oh, sounds just like my dad.
Oh, wow.
And I was like,
okay,
that's a really odd depiction of her father. Yeah, because in adaptations, her father's always been like a wealthy businessman.
Right.
Like, her father was the one who bought the Mystery Machine. And they painted it.
And now we're seeing the true story.
True canon. No, this is not real canon, in my opinion. You got to watch a pop called Scooby-Doo, or you got to watch the original Scooby-Doo series for that real canon. That real shit right there. Yeah, it bothered me. Obviously, I'm not really going to go into this film going like, oh, they got that wrong. No, I understand it's an adaptation. I'm teasing at the most part when I'm making all the references to the old canon and that. But I think the core of Scooby-Doo has kind of been lost, which is my biggest problem, and that's Scooby-Doo kind of losing, his, like I said, being speaking more and being understood, and then him doing all these actions doesn't make sense. I'm probably going to do a video on this at some point, like a separate video, because I think it's definitely something worth noting about. But anything else to add to Scoob?
I'm excited about it. So we'll see what direction it takes.
I would definitely want to see it, but not in the cinemas. I don't want to fund this film, essentially. I hope there's actually like masked monsters in this film, because they didn't show them.
True.
And I don't think we're going to get something as epic as Zombie Island.
Oh my gosh, I was going to say Zombie Island is my favourite Scooby-Doo ever. It scared me shitless.
It's the best film.
Amazing.
Oh, you know what's gonna really upset you now?
Oh, what?
They did Return to Zombie Island.
Did they?
Yeah.
When?
This year.
What?
Yeah. Return to Zombie Island came out this year.
Wow. Okay. I am gonna have to.
We're gonna be watching that after this podcast. Yep. It's not good from what I've heard, unfortunately.
Oh no.
No, it's
so you haven't seen it?
I've heard it's not very good. I heard it's just basically a cash grab. Unfortunately.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, but shall we move on to our final trailer, which I'm going to talk about as well, because there was obviously a bit of a chain reaction where everyone was like, I'm going to show you the trailer for my animated film come out next year. And we've got, you got to be careful with this trailer, and you got to say it properly, the SpongeBob movie, Sponge on the Run, not to be confused with the SpongeBob movie, Sponge Out of Water, or the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. You can't just put a number there.
Nope.
No. And why is it the?
It's not that simple, is it?
I know. As if there's only one. It's like it hasn't been any other SpongeBob movies. I think that was pretty stupid. But first thing we got to talk about, we got to get the elephant out of the room. Keanu Reeves.
Oh my gosh. I can't even.
So he
I can't.
So he cameos in this film as a tumbleweed, essentially, as himself. And I swear to gosh, he must have filmed that on the set of John Wick 3.
Must have.
Because he's in the suit and everything.
He's not going to be a long-running character in the movie. He's just there for, 2 minutes and that's it?
I have a theory he might.
Really?
Okay. Oh. No, hear me out.
Yeah.
So he appears as a tumbleweed. Uh-huh. Where do we usually see tumbleweeds? In the Wild West.
Oh, yeah.
As in shootouts.
Where were they at the time?
I think the Wild West.
Oh, okay.
He could still be involved somehow because we're in the Wild West. They often shoot guns in the Wild West. John Wick.
Okay.
Keanu Reeves. Maybe that's why he's there because they're probably making just a funny reference to John Wick, going, "Oh, look, it's John Wick, the man who shoots guns, and he's like a tumbleweed in the Wild Wild West." I would rather him play himself. I'd rather him play John Wick in the SpongeBob movie, much like David Hasselhoff played like a weird version of himself in the first SpongeBob movie. But I like how they're keeping with the tradition of having like a live action cameo in every film, pretty much. I guess which it makes sense. I mean, that's the natural evolution is John Wick. I mean, SpongeBob 4, you got to get Nicolas Cage.
Yeah,
it's got to be Nicolas Cage now. But other than the cameo, general thoughts on this film?
I really want to know where Gary's gone.
Yeah,
or who took him.
That's
or whatever.
The question on everyone's lips right now.
That's it. And then where do they go? They go to the lost city of Atlantic City.
Atlantis, yeah.
But I don't know. Like, I don't know if I'm super excited about this movie.
You mean you're not hyped for it?
I don't know if the hype's there. What? I don't know if the hype's there. I do want to find out what happens. So they've kind of caught me. But
you can just watch the episode that this is kind of based on to some extent.
Oh God, what's that?
Like literally season 4, there's an episode called like "Where's Gary?" or "Have you seen the snail?" where Gary goes missing. Okay. So I don't know if this is like an adaptation of the episode or they were like, because I was doing research on this just this morning and it's like that episode is low key one of the most successful episodes ever. Like I think at the time when it's first airing, it got 8 million views. It's one of the most viewed episodes of SpongeBob ever.
Wow.
And it's really critically acclaimed. And it's got like a very famous song in it, which is very sad. It's a very sad 2-parter episode. So I'm guessing maybe they're just lifting part of the episode and just kind of doing it again. I don't know. But obviously the events that happen in this film aren't the same that happen in the episode. Or in the film, excuse me. Basically in the episode, it's like he goes to another town to look for Gary and doesn't find him. They're going all over the place, which is interesting. Doesn't make me wonder, like, it should be interesting. I mean, the positives that I've taken from this film is it looks beautiful.
It does.
I think this film looks absolutely fantastic. It's a really nice blend of doing CGI but stylized CGI, so it looks 2D with a little bit of cel shading. I mean, the characters and the world have not looked this colorful ever. Simply put, like. There's a nice bit of like lighting and shading on so many other characters. Like SpongeBob, if you look at him, he's not completely yellow. He's got like the key to drawing SpongeBob is like the sides of him are technically green. They're like a greeny yellow, and they've got that right. And they've got like so many other shades and so many. Even the holes that he has, they got like you can actually see like they have actual indents, which is really nice. And it blends so much better, this style, as opposed to like Sponge Out of Water, where it just looked like CGI characters in live action, where they blend a little better in terms of the real world, which I absolutely love.
That's positive movement. Yeah.
I mean, and even the details going back to that, like if you look at Sandy the squirrel for like a split second, you can see she has fur, like which literally sticks out of her original outline, which is great because she's a squirrel, she's a mammal. That stuff is pretty great for the most part.
Yeah.
I am interested in this film. I've watched both SpongeBob films, and I think they're both surprisingly good.
Nice.
Yeah, the second film is worth a watch, because I think so many people got caught up on, because when they originally released it, they just showed the CGI live action stuff, and people went, "Oh, you're doing a live action film," and it's like, no, like 80% of the film is animated in like the original SpongeBob style. It's just the final third act is on land, but obviously you want to promote that, wouldn't you? You know, as soon as it's like something special. But now they're kind of doing something different, which I'll give them props for, like constantly changing up the style. Because I mean, the SpongeBob movie at the time was the best looking piece of SpongeBob media since then. And then, but it should be interesting, because I know the original creator, he did both those films before he passed away. So it'll be interesting to see how they manage the film without him, because that's the reason why those two films are so good, is because he came back to direct and write them. So not only was he a good creator and animator, he was also a fantastic filmmaker and animator. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. But I'm definitely looking forward to it. Big time.
Should be good, I think. Yeah.
I think it will be a good film for children.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be one of those like ignorant, annoying films that come out for children. I think it'll actually be like something decent for children, which is always good. If you're going to do a kids film, make it for children and then make it for everyone else. Make it universally pleasing. Don't make it these awful low budget cash grab films. Frozen 2. Yeah. So that's pretty much all the trailers we're going to talk about. We're going to do a quick discussion, as it is November. And this discussion, we are going to be remembering just a few of our favourite gaming moments from the past, which is a nice change up given that everything we've talked about on the podcast being films and animation.
True.
So yeah, I guess we'll just share a few stories. It doesn't have to be anything crazy like, oh man, I met Hideo Kojima that one time. No, it doesn't have to be anything crazy like that. It has to.
And we're still friends.
Yeah, we're still friends. We chat on Twitter. So should I go first or should you?
Yeah, take it away.
Okay. So I think one of my favorite gaming moments was when me, Ferret, and Obsidian, we essentially somehow, because the store that sells games in England is called Game. And the one I went to, they were basically like, yeah, we're going to be having like a bunch of demos of The Last of Us coming into the shop. Do you want to like put your name down for that? So of course I did, and I told them to. So they came, they basically shut the shop. They had the demos pretty much there, like about 6 or 7 of the demos, like set up like sets. Like, it was almost as if it's like E3. We had the guy there from Naughty Dog who was like, yeah, you're going to play the game and set it up and that. A funny fact as well was I think someone asked him, oh, can I have the shirt you're wearing? Because it had like The Last of Us on it. And he said, no, I can't give you the shirt because if I take it off, you'll see the fact that it says Uncharted 4 and that will basically reveal it.
Oh.
He said that before Uncharted 4 came out. And he did work for Naughty Dog. So it's really hard to tell if he was lying or not, obviously, because Uncharted 4 did become a thing. So that was quite funny. So we did the demo. We basically got into it. I played the demo. I found it pretty hard because obviously it's a game I've never played before. And it was a good like chunk. It was like a good half hour. It was like...
That's good. It's nice.
Not to spoil too much, but it was essentially... It started from the point where our main characters leave the town. And it kind of ended once the first time they kind of passed through the city. So that's a good 30 minutes of the game, which was fantastic because usually they'll let you play 15, but they let you play a good chunk. Obsidian was the first one to beat the demo. He pretty much was like, finished, and he went off to have pizza because they also got us pizza as well, which is awesome.
Oh, amazing.
And I finished
like a little experience.
Yeah,
nice.
Pretty much. It was awesome. I finished the demo second, and then I think after a few other people, Ferret finished the demo. And we were speaking to Ferret because it was the game was pretty good and all that. And I was speaking to Ferret, and I think Obsidian asked him, "Where did you find the machine gun?" And Ferret was like, "I wasn't using the machine gun." Ferret was basically firing that pistol so fast and so hard that Obsidian thought he had a machine gun.
Oh my gosh.
Because I guess Ferret was just panicking that much. Because even then, I was just hearing bullet shots going off all the time. Like, I was like, damn, I only got like 3 shots. I have no idea where he got the ammo from. He was firing them bullets like it was nothing. But that was such a great experience playing that game. And even when we got the game as well, I think we all got it on the same day, funny enough. And we all went to Obsidian's grandma's house because that's the place to be, pretty much. And I think we played we got it. We went to his house, and then just as Obsidian was about to start playing it, Ferret was like, nah, I gotta go. And we were like, why are you gonna go? And he was like, oh, I don't want any spoilers. So he left, basically. Despite the fact he'd already played the demo and played the game, he was like, no, I don't want any spoilers of how the game's gonna begin. And I was like, that was an experience and a half. And I did eventually play that game. I think I've also helped people play that game as well, because there's a few tricky parts in that game, like the basement section, which is a pain in the ass. I think there are literally a few people like, how the hell are you supposed to beat this? And that's tricky. But do you have a gaming story you want to share?
Yeah. I mean, mine was not long at all, but it was time ago. So I was on the PS1 and I was playing Crash Bandicoot.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, don't ask me why. I'll get back to it in a minute, but it was a really stupid mistake.
Uh-huh.
But I was playing Crash Bandicoot, got quite far, furthest I'd ever got to. I don't think I was right at the end, but I was near in the end.
Mm-hmm.
My older sister was babysitting me at the time.
Yeah.
And she got up, went to do something, came back into the room, and stepped on the PlayStation 1.
God.
So I'm not sure what button she pressed. She might have pressed the eject button or on/off button.
Okay.
But my game was lost.
Jeez.
I was on this for about 4 hours.
Jeez.
Again, I don't know why I didn't bloody save the game. I don't know. I know saving worked differently back then.
Yeah, because it was on a card.
So there's no autosave. There was no... Yeah. You had to basically save it. But I wasn't sure if you had to save it at certain points. I can't quite remember. But I didn't save it and I'd lost all my hard work. Jeez. And I was so, it was funny. It's funny now looking back. But it was at that time, it was funny. We were proper cracking up. But I was hurt. I was devastated.
Went to bed sad.
I was just like, I can't even eat. No, it wasn't that bad.
Jeez, man.
But that was a funny experience.
Jeez. Should we do one more, or do you want to...
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Let's see. One of my favourite ones, I had a lot of very fun moments, mainly with the Xbox 360 and that. And I remember one time I was really looking forward to the game Lollipop Chainsaw by Suda51.
Okay. Yeah.
And the game was coming out on a Friday, like games do, because I think on Wednesday they come out in America, but, whatever, that's getting sidetracked. The same day it was coming out, I had a media exam. And it's like a 2-hour one. It's just the one where it's like you're supposed to use up that hour and a half for pretty much your essay.
Damn.
Pretty much, which I had memorized. Yes, I memorized the whole essay just for this exam. I basically was writing constantly for about 2 hours. Basically, almost damn near broke my hand. Finished the exam and I was like, woo, yeah, I finally finished it. Now, usually when you do exams, everyone comes, oh, how'd you do and all that. Yeah, you did. Yeah. Fuck it. No, I was gone. I didn't bother to talk to nobody. I grabbed my bag. I was gone. I was booking it. Get that bus. Get straight to the game store. Same game store that had the Last of Us demo. I get there. Get my pre-order. They're handing out lollipops, of course, because it's Lollipop Chainsaw. I got my game. I got back. I was playing it. I was banging it out. The first major level, I think I must have got a good few, because the first level was one of the longest ones, and obviously it's the first time you play a game, so it takes you a while. Must have got about 2 hours in. Got to the final boss. My hand started breaking. I was in so much pain trying to beat that fast boss. I was literally with gritted teeth, just I must have beat that boss. Put the controller to one side, and I was like, I would love to play this for the rest of the day, but I cannot. My hand is done.
Can't do it.
And I beat the game the day after, but
sweet,
because I just banged it out all day. I had nothing to do. That was the last
exam.
Exams are done. It was I'm done. You know what I mean? So I played it all day. Fantastic. If you've never played Lollipop Chainsaw, that is a really, really fun game worth playing. It's very silly. It's very stupid, but it's a really, really fun game. I just remember that because it was because the reward of that game felt even more earned because of what I'd done, but it was just a shame that I had pretty much a broken hand at that point. Do you want to hit us off with, I guess, the last story we'll share?
Yeah. Last one. So this is Tekken. I'm not actually sure which Tekken it was.
Rage.
But so me and my family, we used to have Tekken tournaments.
Oh, okay.
So we'd play against each other. Winner stays on.
Oh yeah.
None of us could beat my dad. My dad would select his character. His character would be Martial Law. Martial Lee.
Martial Law is
Martial
character,
Law.
yeah.
And you know that fly kick thing that he does?
Oh, yeah, when he goes up in the air. That cartwheel
and then you
thing.
can spin.
Oh, yeah.
My dad, once he got that first spin, he would not let go. He would spin. It would be annoying. Yeah. I don't even know how I got through, but I got through it. To this day.
Still speak to your therapist about
yeah,
that?
still speak to my therapist about it. Speed out. But yeah, that would like proper annoy me and my sisters, and yeah, it was fun times.
Jeez, I can imagine that, because some people get so salty on Tekken.
Yeah,
though.
that's it.
Especially that move. That move is like iconic now. It's not even like one of his like manual moves. It's like just a move he could just do.
Yeah,
but it's ridiculous. Because I mean,
crazy.
The way some people can just juggle, you just like take
Once you're locked in, you're locked in. Yeah, it's like there's no escape.
It's the air juggles.
Yeah,
the air juggles will take you out pretty much.
Oh,
it is. It's ruthless. I remember when back in the day we did the Copper Fist tournament, which was basically me, Ferret, and Ace. We played Tekken Tag. Did like a mini tournament. I since took it down because no one really watched it, but that was a fun time doing the tournament.
Nice.
We're just messing people up in Tekken.
As you do, like you need to.
Like
no other way.
Yeah, it was ruthless, but it was really fun. I might remaster that and put it back up as maybe like a compilation, but that was a fun time. Tekken is always a fun time when it's a party.
It is, yeah.
But yeah, I think that's almost going to wrap up the podcast. We got the video of the episode to talk about, which, as it is November, and obviously you remember things in November, we have the mysteriously titled The Was 2016.
I was like, what is this?
Because obviously you see the title and you're like, what the hell is The Was? And we're not necessarily going to spoil exactly what it is, but I will give a bit of context, because even if you just go into it, you'll be like, still, what the hell is this? Yeah, that's it. Essentially, this is kind of like a remix mashup of the Avalanche's last album, Wildflower, with Soda Junk essentially remixing some of the songs, as well as taking the same samples they used to make those songs on the albums and doing his own thing with them. Or she, I don't know the gender of Soda Jerk. So it's essentially like a compilation remix album, but a lot of work. A lot of work went into the music video. Yeah. And it definitely, you'll understand why it's in November and why it's definitely about remembering and nostalgia, because
the main word, nostalgia,
effort that went into that, I guess, music video, which is about 13 minutes long, but I think it's really enjoyable, is insane.
Yeah, because I didn't even realize it was 13 minutes long.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it though, because it's just that enjoyable. But there are some really interesting references and really cool visuals in order for everything to blend together pretty much smoothly as possible. And I wanted to recommend it because I'm surprised it doesn't have more views.
That's true.
Like, it should really have more views.
That's true.
It's interesting. And it also, if you've never heard the Avalanches or that album, it's like a nice summary of that album to some extent. Yeah. You know, kind of picking some songs. There are some very... They're very funny with how they edit things, especially the bit where it's The Noisy Eater, which is what the song is called, which is the bit where they're in the shopping... where they're shopping for food, which is done very well in terms of like some of the very obscure references. Like there's a reference to like Coneheads of all things, and
so many different characters in there.
So many different characters
everywhere,
and everything is listed at the end, which is good. So just in case, but it's very random. Sometimes there will definitely be things you will get the reference to, or you will I remember that, or I know that, but there'll be things where you're like, what the hell is that?
Some things when you slip up.
You know, I think there's still a few things where I'm like the scene with the guys basically rapping and getting all the food. I'm like, I don't know what that's from.
No.
But it's funny as hell.
Yeah.
Just an example. So that's The Was. Hopefully you've enjoyed that video of the episode. Anything to add to this podcast before we finish? Anything you want to add at all or say?
Just my thanks. It's good to be back.
It's good to have you on this podcast. This was almost kind of a last minute-ish thing to some extent.
Did we organise this yesterday?
Yes, technically. Wow. Yeah, we organised it less than 12 hours ago, pretty much. It was just like one of those spare the moments kind of things. And I just thought, why not? Because obviously we needed to meet up as well. Yeah. So it was just like, you want to get this podcast done. Because I think this was like one of those, as you can already tell by the length of the podcast, this is one of those you need someone else to kind of talk about it and get their second opinions on that as well. But
always good.
Yeah. Now that I think this is technically the last podcast of November. Yes, I know it's like, the 19th or whatever when this is going up, but given we do this fortnightly, the next podcast will be going up on the 1st of December.
Wow.
And you want to know what's even scarier? There is less than 3 podcasts left of this year.
Wow.
That's how close we are to the end of the year. So yeah, it's
Don't think about it.
It puts things into perspective when you
does.
put it that way, you know. But yeah, I guess if you want to chat to us, you can email us at raccoonplusfriends@gmail.com. If for whatever reason you want to follow me, you can follow me on Twitter at, what is my Twitter again? The Angry Raccoon. There is only one C in the raccoon. And you can follow me there if you want to chat. I basically archive every video I put there, and you can chat to me or whatever. I guess we can end this very horrific and animated podcast by saying I was the Angry Raccoon.
And I was Recess.
And we will see you on the next podcast.
See ya.